5 overs, 5 wickets, 0 runs. No bowler had ever done that, not in 140 years of Test cricket. Then one man did it in 2026. Now he's a Test match winner, a world record holder, and he just got picked up by one of the richest teams in the Caribbean. This is how he got here. Justin Greaves was born on February 26, 1994, in Barbados. He's a right-handed batter and a right-arm medium-fast bowler, the kind of player who does a bit of everything. And in cricket, that usually means one thing. Nobody really notices you until you do something nobody else has ever done. As a teenager, Greaves went to Combermere School in Barbados, one of the island's most well-known cricketing schools. He came up alongside Craig Brathwaite, who went on to become one of West Indies' most respected Test batters, and eventually their captain. But Greaves' own path to the top wasn't a straight line. It wasn't fast. It wasn't easy to predict. Long before he ever wore the West Indies badge, he was grinding through club cricket in England. Sefton Park, in the Liverpool and district competition. Stints in Essex. This isn't glamorous cricket. There are no television cameras, no massive crowds, just weekend league matches, small grounds, and a young Barbadian trying to get noticed by anyone who mattered. That patience eventually paid off. He made his one-day international debut for the West Indies in January 2022 against Ireland. It was a quiet start. No fireworks, no viral highlight reel. Just a foot in the door, at a point in his life when a lot of cricketers his age had already established themselves for years. 2 years later, in January 2024, he finally earned his Test cap on the Tour of Australia. He was one of 4 West Indies players making their Test debut on that tour, which tells you how much the team was rebuilding around a new generation. And in only his second Test, the day-night game in Brisbane, Greaves found himself part of a genuinely historic result. For a lot of players, that kind of long domestic apprenticeship either ends in a national call-up in their early 20s, or it just quietly fades out. Greaves didn't get his ODI debut until he was almost 28 years old, which by modern cricket standards is late. Late enough that plenty of promising all-rounders never get the call at all. It's part of why his story reads less like a typical prodigy narrative and more like a slow, patient build, one domestic season and one club season in England at a time, until the opportunity finally arrived and he made sure he didn't waste it. But it wasn't the moment that turned him into a name. West Indies fans started actually chanting from the stands. That moment came about 2 years later, and it happened in the most painful, unglamorous way possible. December 2025. First Test of the series against New Zealand in Christchurch. West Indies are chasing 531 runs to win, a target that is basically fantasy in Test cricket. Nobody chases that. Then the innings collapses further. West Indies slide to 72 for 4. By any normal measure, the match is already over. Everyone in the ground and everyone watching knows it. Justin Greaves walks out to bat anyway. What happens over the following hours isn't just a good innings. It's one of the most stubborn, gritty, backs-against-the-wall performances you'll see in modern Test cricket. He doesn't try to be a hero. He doesn't go looking for boundaries. He just bats and keeps batting over after over as the New Zealand bowlers try everything to break him. He faces 388 deliveries in that single innings. To put that in perspective, that's more balls than he had faced across half of his entire Test career up to that point, combined, in one knock alone. He bats for almost 9 hours straight. He finishes on 202 runs, not out. His maiden Test century arrives as a double hundred, and it isn't scored to entertain anyone. It's scored purely to survive. West Indies end up batting out 163.3 overs in that 4th innings. It's the longest rearguard defensive effort the team has managed in 95 years. What should have been a certain humiliating loss turns into an escaped, hard-fought draw. And Justin Greaves is the single biggest reason why. Afterward, he spoke about what that innings meant and what it took to get there. He said Test cricket was a completely different animal compared to first-class cricket back home in the Caribbean, both physically and mentally more demanding than anything he'd faced before. He credited conversations with fellow all-rounder Jason Holder for helping him rethink his training, his conditioning, and his mindset heading into that level of the game. It wasn't a flashy quote. It wasn't designed to go viral. It was just an honest admission from someone quietly trying to get better at his craft. 7 months later, in the middle of 2026, Justin Greaves did something that had never been done before in the entire recorded history of Test cricket. It happened in July, during the first Test against Pakistan played in Trinidad. Greaves came on to bowl, and his first spell wasn't anything special. He went for 27 runs, just another over from a part-time-looking seamer. In the eyes of most people watching, then something clicked. He came back on and bowled 5 overs in a row where a Pakistan batter walked out to face him and left without scoring a single run off his bowling, and without surviving the over either. 5 wicket maidens, back-to-back, consecutively. Nobody in the sport's history, stretching back over 140 years, had ever managed that at the elite Test level. The previous record belonged to Stuart Broad, one of the greatest fast bowlers of his generation, who managed 4 consecutive wicket maidens against South Africa back in 2016 at Johannesburg. Justin Greaves didn't just match a legend's record that day in Trinidad. He broke it outright. He finished that innings with figures of 5 wickets for 27 runs, a career-best return, as Pakistan were bowled out for 282. It was the kind of spell that gets replayed for years, the sort of achievement commentators bring up anytime a bowler gets anywhere close to matching it. That record-breaking spell in Trinidad wasn't a one-off blip either. Across his Test career, Greaves has built a genuinely solid batting record, averaging around 30 with the bat over 14 matches, and he's continued to be picked for both the Test side and the ODI setup through the back half of 2025 and into 2026, playing against New Zealand in both formats as recently as November and December of that year. He's currently ranked inside the world's top 70 in the ICC's Test batting rankings, a solid, climbing position for a player who only debuted at this level a couple of years ago. So by the middle of 2026, this is where Justin Greaves stood. A Test all-rounder with a match-saving double century to his name, and a bowling record that literally nobody else in the history of the format holds. Not a bad resume for someone who was playing club matches in the Liverpool and district competition a few short years earlier. And then, almost as if the story needed one more twist, his career took a turn that had nothing to do with Test cricket at all. In May of 2026, the Caribbean Premier League held its mega draft, a complete reset of every single franchise roster ahead of a brand new 3-year contract cycle. This wasn't a routine transfer window. It was the biggest structural shakeup the tournament had seen in years. Every team rebuilt from scratch, each squad built around 9 senior West Indies players, 5 overseas signings, and 3 so-called breakout players. Big names were on the move. Andre Russell, one of the most explosive and recognizable T20 players anywhere in the world, left his previous franchise entirely to join the newly created Jamaica Kingsmen, alongside fellow Jamaican Roveman Powell. The league even added an entirely new franchise that year, with Jamaica Kingsmen replacing the old Jamaica Talawas outright. To fill the gap that move created, Trinbago Knight Riders, the most successful franchise in CPL history, with 5 titles to their name, went out and added Justin Greaves to their squad, alongside fellow all-rounder Dominic Drakes, while also retaining wicket-keeper batter Joshua Da Silva as one of their breakout picks. This wasn't a small or struggling franchise reaching for a bargain option. Trinbago Knight Riders are owned by the Knight Riders Group, the very same organization behind the Kolkata Knight Riders in the IPL, led by Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan, alongside actress Juhi Chawla and her husband, industrialist Jay Mehta. It's one of the most recognizable, well-resourced ownership groups anywhere in world cricket, operating through Khan's Red Chillies entertainment banner. In other words, a cricketer who was grinding through weekend club matches in England not that long ago is now sitting inside one of the most well-funded, high-profile team structures the sport has to offer. The CPL 2026 season kicks off on August 7th, with the defending champions facing the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in the opening fixture. The tournament runs across 8 different Caribbean nations before the final is played in Barbados, Greaves' home island, on September 20th. For him, this represents a completely different stage. Fast, high-pressure T20 cricket, played in front of massive, noisy crowds, wearing the colors of one of the sport's biggest and most watched brands.